Next speaker is John Kerr. He is the Senior Applications Engineer for Arrow Electronics. Arrow serves over 100,000 original equipment manufacturers, contract manufacturers, and commercial customers through a global network of more than 460 locations in 56 countries, which means for one community that they are a partner under Juniper Network equipment that drives our network. But for you, they can be a partner for you to help figure out how to make your IoT idea come to reality. I'd like to introduce John Kerr, Senior Applications Engineer for Arrow Electronics.
What a wonderful facility this is, isn't it? They should have conventions here. So, I want to talk a little bit about the Internet of Things and where Arrow fits into this, but Arrow fits in everywhere. So I'm going to take it all the way down to the little segment that I work on, okay? But I think this is a great quote because if you think about it, everything that's going to be connected is going to be, you're going to be able to get data from pretty much anything nowadays. And as you build new products, you're going to find more and more things are connected. Arrow at a glance. So I apologize. I probably should have read our annual report and brought it up to date, but this is relatively old. We're still in the Fortune, under the Fortune 150 number. So we are a very large company. How many people are aware of Arrow Electronics? Have ever heard of it? Okay, so there's a few out there. This is the model of distribution. And if you think about distribution, this is where distribution normally sits. So if you think about distribution, distribution is no more than a warehouse and a bank. But when you get to be our size, well, you have to learn to do a few other things. So they put on engineers a while ago to help out customers with their designs. And we probably have had engineering on at Arrow Electronics since about 1980 to be able to help customers get to market. And that's what we do. That's what my job is. I'm one of 4 application engineers in the Cleveland marketplace, and my job is to make sure that you can get to market and buy more components from us. We also have the full circle of life. So if you think about the product life cycle, the product life cycle is a circle, and there's other things that you need to do with your electronics. So as things get older, you may have to move things, you may have to dispose of some of your product, etc. And we have solutions throughout that chain. Again, I'm going to focus on my little area of expertise, which is IoT. So these are primary configurations. If you think about it, this is an Ethernet product. This would be something like, well, when I come home and my son is playing on his Xbox, and he's got the little headset on, he's talking to a whole bunch of other people and shooting at them on the TV set, and he can actually talk to these other people even though they're fighting against him. That's kind of a unique product. This is something that's connected to the internet, but nowadays everything is connected via Wi-Fi. And the reason for that is because cables are made out of copper, okay? And copper is starting to get a little bit more expensive. And I think air, correct me if I'm wrong, that's free still. So it's a little bit less expensive to go Wi-Fi and to deploy and not have to run cables. And we're learning that in factories now. We're learning that in hospitals now. We're learning that everywhere, that people don't want to run all those cables, that's the big cost nowadays. So how do you get away from that? Everything is going to go wireless. And depending on the amount of wire or the amount of data that you're sending, you may have to go Wi-Fi. You may have to go Ethernet. You may have to go Wi-Fi. You may have to go cellular to get your data out there. But the goal is typically to get your information to a server or to the cloud. So this is Arrow's ecosystem, and this is where I live. I have no less than 20 customers at any one time that are doing some implementation of the Internet of Things. And if you think about where I sit, I'm at the last 10 feet. So the customers are doing the sensors. They're measuring what they want to measure. All that information that they're sending back, little data packets, that all has to be collected. So we have data collection units, or you can get together with some of our design services. You'll find Embedded Planet is actually on here. They're one of our suppliers. So there's an opportunity for you to gather all your data, packetize it, and send it back to the cloud. And that's what I do. I help customers on the front end. These are all the different radio suppliers that we work with. For near-field communication, so where you need a wireless transmission without power, that's near-field communication. Network service providers, so if you don't want to go directly to an AT&T or a Verizon or a Rogers in Canada or Vodafone, if you want to have some flexibility in the deployment and you're not sure if you're going to have a good cell signal in different locations, that's where we can come in and we can help you out with some of these network service providers. We also have cloud services that we work very closely with. So we can get your product up and running for you. We have expertise in all these areas, and where we don't have enough expertise or where you need to take it over the finish line, we can get you some design services to get that done. This just gives you a little bit more breakdown of the different radios and where they fit. So these would be proprietary radios. These are ones that don't necessarily conform to any more of a standard than the bandwidth. Bluetooth and Bluetooth Low Energy, what do you need to know about that? Do you want it to connect to your phone? Do you have to follow with a Bluetooth SIG? What does the FCC say about that? We know these things, we can help you out. Wi-Fi 802.11, the different standards there. You can see we have a full portfolio of products here for you. So it really depends on what do you want to do with Wi-Fi. Does it have to be encrypted? Is there security, etc.? We can get you up and running. The same thing with cellular. We have a full portfolio here and near-field communication. If you think about it, when you get to a certain volume, it's better to go to a chip-level design. When you go to a chip-level design, you're going to have more things that you have to deal with the FCC, etc. But these certified modules, pre-certified modules, get you to market faster. And we will try and get you to market faster. And then there are modems and there are boxes. So it really depends on what your deployment does as to what we can help you out with. But again, think of us as a supermarket. We can give you the full portfolio of products. So how do you get started? Hey, why don't you give me a call? No, really, from 10,000 feet, what do you want to do? I recently had a conversation with a doctor. And the doctor said, you know, we're doing some surgeries on patients, and then we used to keep them in the hospital for 2 weeks and have them go ahead and do their physical therapy. And nowadays we just send them home, and you know, we kind of hope that they're doing it. There's no way to measure any of that. And after a long discussion, we said, well, what if you had some kind of a method that would measure whether or not they're doing their exercises and could send that data back? And in fact, that's the kind of thing that you're going to see a lot more of. When you go to the hospital, they're going to expect you to recover, okay? And they're going to give you something to take home to make sure that you're doing your exercises. So I see a lot more of these types of things. I have this kind of conversation with customers all the time. Another good example is an elevator customer. They roll a lot of trucks, and they roll trucks based on the day of the month. Okay? Wouldn't it be nice if they knew how many times that door opened on the elevator, and then they would be able to decide when to roll a truck again? 10,000 door opens. Then you roll a truck. So there's a lot of different things that you can find, different ways to save money out there. What certifications? What's your time frame? Again, we can help out with all these different things.